am Grump, I'm not so Grump, and we're the Game Grumps.
Hello, and welcome back to the final installment. This one should be interesting because now we are picking up at probably the point where a lot of you folks got to know me, which was 2013 to the present. Game Grumps, Star Bomb, and Good Game. Wow, look at all this stuff. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
All right. In mid-2013, John Jafari left his position as co-host of the Let's Play web series Game Grumps. Aaron Hansen, co-creator of Game Grumps, brought Avedon on to replace Jafari as co-host after being introduced to Ninja Sex Party's content by fellow animator Ross O'Donovan. True.
That's right.
Yep, all correct. I will never forget that phone call.
Was it a phone call?
Yeah, you called me at my uncle's house. And you were like, "Hey man, John just left. Do you want to join me on Game Grumps?" And I was like, yes. It's like,
did you say yes right away?
Yeah.
Because I remember you saying that you like asked for advice from a bunch of people.
Well, I don't know. I think it was just like, I mean, the answer in my head was yes right away, but I think I knew immediately that it was such a huge life-changing thing that like, that's the sort of thing I will very rarely just be like, okay, you know, to like, it seemed too big to like, I had to give you the Helena, like, could you let me think about it? But I mean, there was only a day to think about it, you know, because those episodes needed to happen immediately. Avedon would also join O'Donovan as co-host of the Game Grumps spin-off show Steam Train, where both hosts play PC games as opposed to console games. Yep, Ross deserves credit for creating that show. That he just, I was just kind of along for the ride. And God, we were so young.
Yeah.
Avedon has remained the co-host of the show since. The co-host of Game Grumps. Yes.
Yeah. And also to Ross's credit, it was Steam Train as an idea was before. It wasn't before Game Grumps, but it was before Dan had joined Game Grumps.
That's true.
So he wanted to do a show with Dan as a co-host.
We had never released an episode of Steam Train, but we were like recording them just like kind of to get our sea legs under us because this is a weird type of performance that this show is, and it takes a little getting used to. I don't know. I think it was because it was such a frantic time and we were so short on episodes when I first joined. Was that when we were like, just put up the practice episodes? Was that it?
Yes.
Yeah. Is that like the Hotline Miami and stuff, like we never expected that to see the light of day. But in retrospect, it was kind of the best case scenario because like any kind of like huge change like that, especially unexpected, and it was kind of unexpected for all of us, like that was always going to be met with a lot of hate and a lot of like very intense emotions.
Yeah.
So better to like sacrifice a bunch of like not great episodes that we weren't like prepared for to like absorb all the hate.
Yeah.
And then like we kind of like had learned on the job by the time those kind of worked their way through the factory.
Yeah. Although still love those Punch Out episodes.
Oh, I love the Punch Out episodes too. I'm talking about the Steam Trains.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Excuse me. Avedon, okay, yes. In addition to this, Avedon has acted as a co-host of other shows from the Game Grumps platform, including Grumpcade, Table Flip, and Steamrolled, as well as providing narration for Hunting Monsters. Oh yeah, I forgot about all that.
Yeah.
In late 2013, Avedon teamed up with Wecht & Hansen to create a side project band named Starbomb, with Avedon as the lead singer-songwriter. Again, I get a lot of credit just because like you're out there singing things front and center.
Yeah.
So it seems like you created it because people are hearing it in your voice. I was the lead singer, but the songwriter credits go to everyone, all three of us.
Well, mostly you and Brian. I think I came up with a lot of the concepts for the songs, But in terms of actually writing the lyrics, it was mostly you and a little bit of Brian.
That might be true, but like when I think about like Ninja Sex Party and Starbomb, even though like those two first Starbomb albums are like the music is very Ninja Sex Party-esque, like they're so different than NSP. And so like I don't think I could exclude you from like a 33% songwriting credit on those first two albums, from my perspective at least, just because like if you weren't there, it's not Starbomb. It's not anything, you know?
Right.
So that's how I would look at it. The band writes parody songs about video games, bringing together the sexually provocative music stylings of Avedon's Ninja Sex Party and the video game-based humor of Hanson. I guess that's sort of correct.
Yeah. It seems like overly general, but
yeah, it's a little less like delineated like that. It's more like a mishmash of everything. As of 2018, the group has released 2 albums, both of which have placed on Billboard's charts. True. And by the end of 2018, that will be 3 albums. Oh my God! Yeah. So Starbomb 3, we're planning to put it out in December.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of that one.
Super proud.
Yeah, it sounds rad. But that's for a future time.
And also, I have a bigger footprint on it.
Oh God, yeah. That absolutely was like, okay, now we're all a band.
Yeah.
Like that was very cool. And I'm sure it's a better album as a result. In 2015, internet personalities Jesse Cox and Michelle Morrow began developing an untitled comedy web series starring the GameGrumps for YouTube Premium.
It's called Premium now.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, it was YouTube Red when it was released and conceptualized, but
wow.
It's called YouTube Premium now.
I guess the phrase YouTube Red just got a bad rap.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's probably a smart rebrand.
Also because when you Siri it always comes out as YouTube Red.
Yeah. I've noticed that. I had no idea Jesse and Michelle were working on it for that long.
From what I understand, yeah, they had been developing it for quite some time before they called. They called me. I was in a hotel. I think I was on tour, and they called me in a hotel room. And I remember like pacing around the hotel. It was Michelle that called me, and she was just like, "Hey, we're doing this thing, and we got Dan Harmon attached, and we thought you'd be interested." And I was like, I'll talk with Dan.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's probably gonna be a yes.
Oh, it was great. It was a great experience.
Yeah.
Casting. Although the wording of this is a little misleading, just because they didn't write it with us in mind as starring in it.
Yeah.
They wrote it and then casted it. Were casting later and then approached us. Casting Avedon in a lead acting role as esports coach Alex Taylor. Yes.
What was interesting about, I'm not sure if you know this, but you weren't originally intended to even be a character in it.
No shit.
I think it was just supposed to be me. And then Brent and I were going into conversations and we were like, well, this is GameGrumps. It should be me and Dan. And then they were like, well, we had an idea for Dan to be like this minor character, as like this like guitar hero guy or something. And we were like, well, maybe. And then it got reconceptualized where you were a major
that's
character.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for fighting for me, man.
Yeah, man.
I love.
I mean, I don't think there was any malice. It was just like that they didn't plan the series around having.
Yeah, of course.
A character that was like how you are on the show.
Yeah, you have it in your head a certain way. After Dan Harmon joined as executive producer in 2016, shout out to Dan Harmon, our boy.
Yeah.
The project gained media traction and was formally announced at VidCon 2017 with the title Good Game. That was exciting when it was announced.
Yeah.
It felt very like, ooh, we're part of something, legit.
Yeah, I was getting like news, like real news.
Yeah, it was
like,
crazy.
Oh, nice.
6 serialized episodes were uploaded to the GameGrumps YouTube channel, with the first episode being free to view and concurrent episodes requiring a YouTube Premium subscription. Avedon's performance was it well received by critics?
Wow.
That's very nice. Cited as truly fun, believable, and shining a light on the potential of other projects. Well, that's very flattering.
Jesus. That's a lot more about Good Game in your article than in my article.
Is that right?
Yeah, I don't even think it was like, it was just kind of like, he was in good game. Like,
That's funny.
it's like, cool. Maybe my performance wasn't well received by critics.
Yes, it was, because it was fucking funny as shit. And we worked hard on that, man. Like we took acting lessons for a while, because I think you and I, neither of us would truly consider ourselves actors, you know? But also those characters were like, we brought a lot of ourselves to the roles.
Yeah, well, that was cool about it. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I got the feeling that, like, you know, everybody who was on the cast was incredibly capable actors and actresses. But you and I think the director could tell that we already had this very well-established chemistry.
Right.
And so it seemed as if our scenes with just you and me were always scheduled last in the day, because he knew that we would just knock the shit out, like immediately just knock them out.
Yeah.
Because it was always to the point where it got to our scenes, we were running a little late, we didn't have much time, and they were just like, you know what you guys are doing, just fucking do it. And then we would nail it.
Yeah.
And then those are my favorite scenes in the entire show, was the ones just you and me.
Mine too. My favorite scene is the one where, like, I'm smoking from the bong. And you're reading from the wet book.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that one.
Episode 3.
Because it's just us.
Yeah.
You know? And it kind of captured how nice that whole experience was. So yeah, that show sadly is no more, but like, I'm very glad, like, we got to do it.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't trade that for anything. Other collaborations. In 2009, Avedon composed and pitched the theme song for the children's television series Power Rangers RPM alongside producer William J. Sullivan. However, due to the tone of the show's plot clashing with Avedon's demo, the song was scrapped. That is true.
What, really?
Yeah. Well, I don't know about the reasoning as much, but Will, who was my buddy, I met him when Northern Hughes was recording its first EP in Philly. We worked with a producer named Noah, and Noah was Will's friend. So when Will needed like someone to sing like these little like kind of commercial jingles and stuff or whatever he was working on, Noah recommended me, and we became buds, and we ended up doing lots of little like weird things together, like 30 seconds long. And they would end up in like TV shows randomly and stuff like that. They were just like, not public domain, but they were part of a catalog that like TV shows could kind of go through and be like, we'd like to use this. And we'd get some royalties, but we wouldn't charge as much as like, I don't know, say Guns N' Roses or an established band or something like that.
So it's the cheaper option.
Yes. So one of the things he was doing was the Power Rangers show, and so I still remember it. It's like Man vs. Machine. I can't remember. The Vengeance Network spreading fear. Power Rangers get in gear. Yeah. Oh, that's how it went. But yeah, like it was just a demo. It didn't go anywhere.
So you helped write that?
Yeah.
Wow.
We wrote it together. Although I didn't know what the hell the Vengeance Network was. Like, he just kind of told me. In 2002, Avedon briefly partnered with Mondo Media to host a sketch comedy miniseries written by Lena Dunham. What the fuck?
What?
It's called Dirty Shorts? That is not true. Lena Dunham did not write that.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty fucking sure. In which Avedon portrayed an exaggerated version of himself similar to that of Danny Sexbang. The series was not received well and was dropped after the first 12-episode season. Avedon has commented that the Mondo Media staff experience was welcoming, although he was not confident the way his character was written would appeal to audiences. Okay, so that, let's see. Stevie, our very sweet girl who now works for Rhett and Link, she used to work at Mondo. And I can't, that's how we met, through that connection. I can't remember how it started, but I remember auditioning for it and putting together like a reel for it and stuff. But the gist was the company wanted to, they had a hit with Dick Figures on their hands, and they had a hit with Happy Tree Friends. and they wanted to find the next one of those. So their idea was to create 60 pilots and just like throw all that spaghetti at the wall and see if one of them stuck with people. That's kind of a crazy idea, you know?
Yeah.
And like,
it's a little much.
yeah. And now like you can look back and be like, oh, of course that wasn't going to work.
Mm-hmm.
But they needed someone to, they wanted to find a host, like a live action host, to kind of introduce the concept and, you know, all these different things, and sort of become the face of the channel. So I was like, that could be cool. And so I auditioned for that. And plus, like, it was 2012. So it was when I was very sick, as you remember, and I needed to pay medical bills, which were piling up. And this was kind of like a lifeline. I was like, oh my God, like, this will pay those bills. And it did. So even though I'm not at all proud of those episodes in any way, they did help my life behind the camera a lot. So it was a huge learning experience for me in the sense that like, anytime it showed me that anytime there's a big change in an internet show's kind of world, in the creative approach, there's going to be backlash and there's going to be a good deal of people getting pissed off and not liking it. So just the fact that there was a live action human being on this Cartoon Network, it just, people were like, what the fuck is this bullshit? You know? And also like the first episode I remember was pretty promising because, the guy who did the opening to Tim and Eric's Awesome Show, like created the backgrounds and the effects. And I was like, this is kind of cool. Like this could be something, but we were never able to get him again. And then like, so some other talented and creative people worked on it, but it was just very like, it was very piecemeal from that point on. You kind of never knew what you were going to get. But certainly by the end, but earlier than that, I would say by the early to middle, I kind of felt like it just wasn't going to go anywhere.
It didn't feel authentic.
That's exactly right. Like they would just be like more funny faces and more like this. And I was like, it felt a little like, and this is not a statement on the people at Mondo because like they were uniformly awesome people and they were just trying to like make something work, you know? But it felt a little dance monkey dance.
Yeah.
And like very much like, I was like, I don't think this is going to work at all. But it did three very, very great things for my life. One was it helped me pay off those medical bills. Two was that it helped move me out to LA because it gave me a reason, you know, and that needed to happen because at the time, Ninja Brian had just moved to London to take a tenured professorship, and Ninja Sex Party was very much in doubt. And three, it totally prepared me for taking John's place on the show because I was like, okay, I'm going to catch a lot of heat and everyone's going to hate me for a little while, but I've been through this before. Yeah. You know, and also it taught me how to handle it better because whereas with the Dirty Shorts show, I had to take direction and I had to play a character that felt just adversarial towards the audience and like just kind of weird and lame. On GameGrumps, I could actually just be myself. Right. So I was like, all right, I'm going to take this in the opposite direction and just be myself. And if that's not good enough for people, then I mean, what can you do? You know? Right. But at least I won't like feel inauthentic, like you said.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So overall, Dirty Shorts was great for my life. If those episodes got taken off the internet tomorrow, I would not shed a tear. And it was definitely not written by Lena Dunham.
Well, because I asked you to join Game Grumps somewhat shortly after Dirty Shorts, and you were still sort of on the ass end of the health shit. So the reason that we have amazing health insurance was when I asked you to join, I wanted to treat it more like a company and like salary and everything.
Right.
So I got health insurance for the company, and the reason it's awesome is because of you.
No shit.
So I've gotten many comments from different employees like, I went to the hospital and I showed him my card and like I didn't get charged shit.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
The health insurance rules.
Yeah, it was.
And I was
really,
like, it's all because of Dan, man.
Oh well, it's all because of you. But like, all I did was get sick.
Well, I wanted to make sure you were taken care of.
Yeah, and you really did, because I remember the hospital bills. Like, I mean, not to get too fucking personal or whatever, but like it was a 6-figure number. You know, like it was very high. So to pay that off and have that covered was like an enormous weight off my shoulders, and I'm sure it helped me get healthier sooner. You know. Okay. Abaddon also created, wrote, and provided voice acting for the studio's short-lived animated comedy miniseries DJs and PJs. Oh, DJs and PJs, Jesus!
Wait, was that released?
Yeah, hold on. I'll get to that in a second. Wait, should we do one more episode of this? Because I there's enough here for one more episode.
Do you think so?
I do. I can go off.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
I'm down for that.
Hooray! Thanks for bearing with us. I hope this is interesting, everyone. Goodbye. Jeepers creepers. My man.
All right.